Good morning and good afternoon. Welcome to another episode of Before Coffee. Today, it's Luxembourg Day. We're in Luxembourg and we're going to read a story about people who've moved abroad and regretted leaving Luxembourg.
On Good News Day, we look at a prehistoric bird once thought extinct that was found alive.
We're also going to talk about J.K. Rowling and how she's been completely eradicated from a museum.
Those are the headlines today on Be Late for Something today, September 5th, 2023 on Before Coffee.
I wouldn't have gone abroad if I'd known. This is from Celine Spithove. Oh, it's adapted for RTL today, even. As part of a new series, our colleagues from RTL Tele visit Luxembourgish families who have moved across the border. Nathalie Ricote, a resident of Boos in Luxembourg's Moselle region for 2 decades, found herself facing a life-altering decision last May following a divorce. Her husband chose to immigrate, and their home in Boos was sold. As a result, Ricote and her 2 children suddenly found themselves without a home in Luxembourg. Today, they reside in the French village of Mondorf, situated just a kilometer from Luxembourg border. For her 16-year-old son, the move did not cause too many problems. He attends a secondary school in Luxembourg and is able to continue his studies there. For 8-year-old Erin, however, things are a little more complicated. The little girl can no longer go to school in Boos. Although she now has a new home, she has had to leave her friends in her old school behind. In September, she starts school in France. Ricote is not happy with this arrangement, as she would have preferred her daughter attend a primary school in Luxembourg due to the school system. In France, Erin will have to be able to read and write in French from one day to the next, meaning that she will be lagging behind her classmates from the start. In addition, the disparity in school holidays between France and Luxembourg poses a logistical challenge for the family. Ricote, a single mother, faces the daunting task of coordinating her presence for both children, not even mentioning planning holidays that align with their distinct holiday schedules. Ricote tried everything to get her daughter into school in Luxembourg, submitting applications to the school in Boos, as well as reaching out to the municipality of Luxembourg City, Schnengentown Hall, and the Ministry of Education. However, her efforts were all met with either rejections or silence. Speaking to our colleagues from RTL Tele, Ricote states that if she had known of these challenges beforehand, she would not have moved across the border. For the time being, the family is trying to make the best of the situation. In any case, Ricote does not really have any other choice. Although she has had a job, it's not easy from a financial point of view to find a place to rent in Luxembourg, especially on a single income with 2 children. Yep, that's indeed the fact. That's things a lot of Europeans say, even people from Luxembourg say. Nobody lives in Luxembourg. They all commute to Luxembourg, okay? So, if you want, she has to stay with her husband because he's the one who's making the money, and she can try to make the same amount of money, but it's just not going to work because she also has children she has to take care of. So,
Greetings from Luxembourg. And we're going to talk about on Good News Day. There's a prehistoric bird once thought to be extinct returns to New Zealand. This camera way too high, the microphone way too high. Not used to having a microphone. We have a sense of humor here at Before Coffee. And this is from Andy Corbley. He seems to be the only writer they have, but hey, he digs up these stories. We got to give him credit. And a massive and historic conservation success story. 18 Takaye birds have been released into the wilds of a nature reserve in Lake Wakatipu. This is hoped to be followed by 7 more in October, another 10 in the early months of next year as this rediscovered wonder continues its long road to recovery into the 3rd separate breeding population into the wild. The automobile was still a novel sight in London when the Takaki was declared extinct. So it was like 100 years ago, more than 100 years ago. This iridescent flightless bird is a symbol of New Zealand's unique prehistoric past, but it evolved in an island without mammals, and with their invasive introduction came what might have been the bird's ultimate demise. However, They were discovered after the Second World War, and ever since, conservation has been taking proactive approach to ensuring their survival. Eggs located in the wild were taken into care centers to protect them from thieves like stoats, ferrets, and rats. Conservationists raised chicks in breeding centers by using stock puppets shaped like adult Takahi heads, an invaluable technique that eventually gave way to breeding in specially controlled environments. Trapping and the invasive predators has also been an incredibly important contribution to the animal's steady growth in population of around 8% annum. On New Zealand's South Island, Wakatipu is an island nation's longest, snaking through the Waimaori Valley for 50 miles. The surrounding environment of alpine slopes is perfect for the 1.5 foot bird. It doesn't have 1.5 feet. It's 1.5 feet tall. That made it look like it. That made it sound like it only had a foot. Right? No, yeah, that's a big bird. 1.5 foot. That's 18 inches tall. Pretty decent size. Where was I? Okay. They're almost prehistoric looking, says Tome Cassidy of the Ngai or Gai Tahu indigenous group. Ngai? Could be. Who steward the land around Lake Wakatipu. Very broad and bold. He said that from the front they appeared perfectly spherical, like a miniature Earth mounted on a pair of orange legs. For the Maori, the reintroduction is incredibly special, and in the past Maori people gathered the feathers of the bird into cloaks, and the calls of these animals radiating up the slopes from the valley to bottom was a cherished memory that may now be able to be relived. And there's your good news from the Good News Network.
In culture news, Harry Potter author J.K. Rowling is being removed from a U.S. museum for being transphobic. This is from David Marquand. Evanesco Rowling. J.K. Rowling has been airbrushed from a U.S. museum due to her hateful and anti-trans rhetoric. The curators of the Seattle's Museum of Pop Culture, or MoPop, decided to remove Rowling artifacts to reduce her impact. It's not a perfect solution, but it's what we're able to do in short term while determining long-term practices, they stated. Their initiative follows a May blog post entitled She Who Must Not Be Named, written by project manager Chris Moore, who is transgender. Moore criticized the author for her transphobic views and explained how the museum would handle Harry Potter displays moving forward. There's a certain cold, heartless, joy-sucking entity in the world of Harry Potter, and this time it's not a Dementor. The blog post reads, "We want to go to the internet's theory that these books were actually written without an author. But this certain person is a bit too vocal with her super hateful and divisive views to be ignored." While memorabilia from the Harry Potter films will be still displayed in the museum's Fantasy Worlds of Myth and Magic exhibit, any mentions of the author have been scrubbed from the exhibit. While the Harry Potter series is a major player in the pop culture sphere, we wanted to give credit to the work of the actors, prop makers, and costume designers in our fantasy gallery. The post added, "We learned that You Know Who was a problem, which is why you'll see the artifacts without any mention or image of the author." Rowling has long been criticized by the LGBTQIA organizations and members of her own fan base for reiterating hurtful rhetoric that is tied to the TERF trans exclusionary radical feminist movement, which posits the belief that trans women are not women. And then there's a bunch of hateful tweets that we don't need to reread. The author has also denied accusations of transphobia and said there were a ton of Potter fans that were grateful for what she said. It's like, oh look, these people like me, so I'm right. That's a great argument. She has doubled down on these views over the years, including voicing opposition to Scotland's gender recognition bill in 2022. Speaking on a podcast in February this year, she said, "What has interested me in the last 10 years, and certainly in the last few years, particularly on social media, you've ruined your legacy. Oh, you could have been beloved forever, but you chose to say this. And I think you could have not misunderstood me more profoundly. I do not walk around my house thinking about my legacy. What a pompous way to live your life. Walking around thinking about what my legacy will be. Whatever, I'll be dead. I care about now, and I care about the living." Also, she's had children, so she already has a legacy. Let's That's kind of the traditional legacy for most people, is creating children who will remember me, and then their children will remember me, and then at some point you'll be forgotten. That's just life.
And it's time for This Day in History. This Day in History. 1725, Maria Leczeska of Poland was married to King Louis XV of France. In 1774, Caspar David Frederick, a pioneering early 19th century German Romantic painter, was born. In 1793, the Reign of Terror began as harsh measures were undertaken against those suspected of being enemies of the French Revolution. Nobles, priests, and hoarders. In Paris, a wave of executions started, so the old guillotine was getting to work out there. In 1836, Sam Houston was elected president of the Republic of Texas. In 1957, Jack Kerouac's On the Road, one of the first novels associated with the Beat Movement, was published. And this day in 1960, American boxer Muhammad Ali, then known as Cassius Clay, won the gold medal in the 175-pound division of the 1960 Olympic Games, and then embarked him on a professional career that saw him become one of the sport's most legendary competitors. In 1972 Olympics, Palestinian terrorists attacked the Olympic Village in Munich, western Germany, during the Summer Olympic Games, taking hostages and eventually killing 11 members of the Israeli team. So that's a dark day in history. In 1975, on this day, Lynette Squeaky Fromm attempted to assassinate U.S. President Gerald R. Ford. Fromm, a follower of Charles Manson, was sentenced to life in prison but was released in 2009. 1976, the first episode of The Muppet Show, which was co-created by Jim Henson, aired, and the TV series became hugely popular. It was known for its cast, including Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy. In 1997, Mother Teresa died at the age of 87. She was a Nobel Peace Prize winner, laureate, and a charitable advocate for the poor. In 2000, Tuvalu, a group of 9 coral islands in the West Central Pacific with a population of 10,000, became the 189th member of the United Nations. In 2016, Phyllis Schlafly, who is opposed to the women's movement and equal rights amendment, died at 92. So she got to live a bitter old woman. In 2001, our featured event, Evidence Provided for a Black Hole Theory, at a scientific conference in Washington, D.C. In this day in 2001, scientists described an observation of energy flares that provided strong evidence to theorize black hole at the center of the Milky Way galaxy. So don't step in that black hole. And featured biography, on this day in 1877, Crazy Horse died in Fort Robinson, Nebraska. He was born around 1842, so that puts him around 55. Also born on this day was Freddie Mercury, British singer and songwriter from the group Queen. 1766, John Dalton was born, British scientist. 1912, John Cage, American composer. 1929, Bob Newhart is still going strong. He was born, happy birthday. Bob Newhart was born in 1929. And did we cover Werner Herzog, German director? I think we did. And what day is it today? Well, we'll cover that. Let's get it. What day is it? Boom. It is not too many things. It's National Cheese Pizza Day. Hell yeah. National Be Late for Something Day, which we've already done that several times. I do it constantly. And it's National Another Look Unlimited Day. National Another Look Unlimited Day. Another Look Unlimited Day. Another Look Unlimited Day on the day of Labor Day provides for the opportunity for fall cleaning. All right, thanks for that. That just wonderful holiday. And
this has been Allison from Luxembourg. We're gonna go eat some cheese pizza and I guess start fall cleaning at the hotel. I have no idea.
I don't be late for it.
Yeah, exactly. And we're going to be late. So see you tomorrow for another holiday edition of Before Coffee.
This is Roger, signing off from Luxembourg. This is Roger signing off from Luxembourg for this comprehensive news of the world. Planet Earth. We changed our logo, our motto just recently. Comprehensive news of planet Earth on September 5th, 2023 edition of Before Coffee. Be sure to hit the like, subscribe, and notify buttons, and follow our other channels, Toxic Alley, History of Gravy, and Scratchy Old Records.